The rain fell hard against the windows of Ashford Manor. Inside the great hall, servants moved like shadows. They whispered. They cleaned. They pretended not to notice the empty chair at breakfast. Lady Celestine's chair. The Duke's bride. Alistair Thornwood stood at the window. His tall frame blocked the grey morning light. His dark hair was perfectly combed. His jaw was tight. His green eyes stared at nothing. He looked calm. Too calm. Behind him, the butler cleared his throat. His name was Mr. Pemberton. He was old. His hands shook when he carried the silver tray, but his voice never wavered. "Your Grace," he said softly. Alistair did not turn. "Your Grace," Pemberton said again. "I have news." Alistair's fingers drummed once against the windowsill, then stopped. "Speak." Pemberton took a breath. "Your bride, Lady Celestine, she has left the manor." Silence. The rain grew louder. "She left a note," Pemberton continued. His voice was careful. "She said she cannot marry you. She said she is sorry. She took a horse before dawn." Alistair turned slowly. His face was unreadable. His eyes were cold and sharp, but his mouth curled into the smallest smile. "Perfect," he said. Pemberton blinked. "Your Grace?" Alistair walked past him. His boots clicked against the marble floor. He moved with purpose, with control. He did not look surprised. He did not look angry. He looked pleased. "Bring the maid," Alistair said. Pemberton froze. "The maid, Your Grace?" "Yes." Alistair stopped at the door. He glanced back over his shoulder. "The one who serves Lady Celestine, the quiet one with the dark eyes. Bring her to my study, now." Pemberton's mouth opened, then closed. "As you wish, Your Grace." Alistair left the hall, and somewhere in the manor, a maid named Isla heard footsteps coming for her. Isla scrubbed the floor in the east wing. Her hands were red and raw. Her brown hair was tied back with a faded ribbon. Her dress was plain and grey. She did not mind. She liked being invisible. She liked being forgotten. But this morning, she could not forget. Lady Celestine was gone. Isla had helped her pack in the dark. She had tied the cloak around her mistress's shoulders. She had watched her climb onto the horse. She had said nothing. She had promised to say nothing. Now her heart pounded in her chest. Her hands shook as she scrubbed. She kept her head down. She tried to breathe. Then she heard them. Footsteps, heavy, fast. She looked up. 2 guards stood in the doorway. Their faces were blank. Behind them was Mr. Pemberton. His expression was tight. "Isla," Pemberton said, "the Duke wishes to see you." Her stomach dropped. "Why?" she whispered. "Now," Pemberton said. Isla stood slowly. Her knees felt weak. She wiped her hands on her apron. She did not look at the guards. She followed Pemberton down the long hallway. The manor felt darker suddenly, colder. She had never been to the Duke's study. She had never spoken to the Duke. She had only seen him from a distance, tall, silent, powerful. A man who did not smile, a man who did not need to. Now she was being summoned. Her thoughts raced. Did he know? Did someone see her with Lady Celestine? Would he blame her? Pemberton stopped at a tall wooden door. He knocked twice. "Enter," came the Duke's voice. Pemberton opened the door. He gestured for Isla to step inside. She did. The door closed behind her. The study was dark. Heavy curtains blocked the light. A fire crackled in the hearth. Shelves lined the walls, filled with books Isla could not read. A large desk sat in the center. Behind it, the Duke stood with his back to her. "You are Isla," he said. It was not a question. "Yes, Your Grace," she whispered. He turned. His green eyes locked onto hers. Isla's breath caught. She had never been this close to him. She had never felt the weight of his gaze. It was sharp. calculating, like he could see through skin and bone. "You served Lady Celestine," he said. "Yes, Your Grace." "You were loyal to her." Isla hesitated. I did my duties." Alistair walked toward her, slowly. His boots were soft against the carpet. He stopped 3 feet away. He did not blink. "She ran," he said simply. Isla's heart hammered. "I heard." "Did you help her?" Isla's throat tightened. She wanted to lie, but something in his eyes told her he already knew, that he had always known. "Yes," she whispered. Silence. Alistair tilted his head. Then he smiled. It was not warm. It was not kind. But it was not angry either. "Good," he said. Isla blinked. "Your Grace?" "I wanted her to run," Alistair said. He turned and walked back to his desk. He poured himself a glass of dark wine. "Lady Celestine was chosen by my family, not by me. She was afraid of me. She did not want this marriage. Neither did I." Isla stared at him. Her mind struggled to understand. "Then why?" "Why did I agree?" Alistair sipped his wine. "Because duty demands it. Because my name demands it. But now she has run, and I am free." Isla's hands twisted in her apron. "I do not understand." Alistair set the glass down. He leaned against the desk. He studied her like she was a puzzle he was solving. "You will take her place," he said. Isla's blood turned to ice. "What?" "You heard me." I am a maid," Isla stammered. "I am no one, I cannot—" "You can," Alistair interrupted. His voice was calm, final. "You will pretend to be Lady Celestine, for the wedding, for the guests, for my family. No one has seen her face clearly except the servants, and the servants will do as I command." Isla shook her head. "Your Grace, this is madness. I cannot—" "You can," he said again. "And you will." "Why?" Ila's voice cracked. "Why me?" Alistair pushed off the desk. He stepped closer. His eyes softened just slightly, just enough to be dangerous. "Because you are clever," he said. "Because you helped her escape without being caught. Because you are invisible. And because—" he paused. "Because I need someone I can control." Isla felt the words like a slap. "And if I refuse?" Alistair's smile returned. "Then I will tell everyone you helped Lady Celestine flee, that you stole from the manor to fund her escape, that you betrayed your duke. You will be arrested, tried, hanged." Ila's legs nearly gave out. "You would lie," she whispered. "I would not need to," Alistair said softly. "You did help her, and in the eyes of the law, that is treason." Tears burned in Ila's eyes, but she did not let them fall. "What do you want from me?" she asked. Alistair's gaze held hers. "Obedience," he said. "For now." Isla did not sleep that night. She lay in a room she did not recognize, a room that was too big, too clean, too soft. Lady Celestine's room. She stared at the ceiling. Her chest felt tight. Her mind raced. How could this be happening? She was a maid, a nobody, a girl who scrubbed floors and emptied chamber pots. Now she was supposed to be a lady, a bride, a duchess. It was impossible. But the Duke had spoken, and his word was law. The next morning, a woman came to her room. She was older, with sharp eyes and thin lips. Her name was Mrs. Aldridge. She was the head of the household. "Stand," she commanded. Isla stood. Mrs. Aldridge circled her like a hawk. She pulled at Ila's hair. She pinched her shoulders. She clicked her tongue. "You are plain," she said bluntly. "But that can be fixed." Isla said nothing. "The Duke has ordered that you be trained," Mrs. Aldridge continued. "You will learn to walk like a lady, to speak like a lady, to eat like a lady. You will learn everything Lady Celestine was supposed to know. Do you understand?" Yes, Ela whispered. Yes, what? Ela swallowed. Yes, Ma'am. Mrs. Aldridge nodded. Good. We have 3 days before the wedding. We begin now. The lessons were brutal. Ela learned to walk with her shoulders back and her chin high. She learned to hold a teacup without shaking. She learned to curtsy without wobbling. She learned to say please and thank you in a voice that did not sound like begging. She learned to wear a corset so tight she could barely breathe. She learned to smile when she wanted to scream. Mrs. Aldridge was merciless. She corrected every movement, every word, every glance. You are not a maid anymore, she said. You are Lady Celestine. You will behave as such. Ila wanted to argue, but she did not. She was too afraid. On the second day, the Duke came to watch. Ila was practicing her walk across the drawing room. Mrs. Aldridge sat in a chair, her eyes sharp. Ila moved slowly, carefully. She kept her back straight, her hands folded, her face calm. Then she saw him. Alistair stood in the doorway. His arms were crossed. His expression was unreadable. Ila froze. Continue, he said. Ila forced her feet to move. She walked toward him. Her heart pounded. Her palms sweated. She reached the end of the room and turned. Alistair watched her like a scientist watching an experiment. Better, he said finally, but you still look terrified. I am terrified, Ila said before she could stop herself. Mrs. Aldridge gasped. You do not speak to the Duke unless spoken to. Leave us, Alistair said. Mrs. Aldridge blinked. Your Grace. Leave. She stood quickly and left the room. The door closed with a soft click. Ila and Alistair were alone. He walked toward her, slowly. His eyes never left hers. You are afraid of me, he said. Yes. Good. Ila frowned. Good? Fear keeps people honest, Alistair said. He stopped a foot away. But fear also makes people stupid, and I need you to be smart. I do not want this, Ila whispered. I know. Then let me go. Alistair's jaw tightened. I cannot. Why? He did not answer right away. His eyes searched hers. Then he spoke. Because if this marriage does not happen, my family will lose everything. Our lands, our title, our name. The contract was signed years ago. If I do not marry Lady Celestine, or someone the world believes is Lady Celestine, we will be ruined. Ila's breath hitched. So, you are using me? Yes. The honesty stung. And after the wedding? Ila asked. What happens to me? Alistair's expression softened, just barely. That depends on you, he said. What do you mean? If you play your part well, he said slowly, I will give you freedom, money, a new life far from here. You can disappear, be whoever you want. Ila's heart skipped. You would let me go? Yes. Why should I trust you? Alistair leaned closer. His voice dropped. Because I have nothing to gain by hurting you, he said, and everything to lose if you fail. Ila stared at him. His green eyes were steady, calm. But behind them she saw something else. Desperation. He needed her. And maybe, just maybe, that gave her power. The third day came too fast. Ila stood in front of a mirror. She did not recognize herself. Her hair was pinned in soft curls. Her dress was pale blue silk, embroidered with silver thread. Her face was powdered. Her lips were stained pink. She looked like a lady. She felt like a lie. Mrs. Aldridge adjusted the dress one last time. You will do, she said. Just remember everything I taught you. Ila nodded. And do not speak unless you must, Mrs. Aldridge added. The less you say, the less you can ruin. The words cut, but Ila swallowed them down. That night, She could not sleep again. She paced the room. Her mind spun. Tomorrow she would stand in front of strangers, in front of the Duke's family, in front of a priest. She would say vows she did not mean, to a man she did not know. A knock sounded at the door. Isla froze. "Who is it?" "Me," the Duke's voice. Isla's pulse quickened. She opened the door slowly. Alistair stood in the hallway. He was dressed simply, a white shirt, dark trousers. His hair was slightly messy. He looked tired. "I need to speak with you," he said. Isla stepped aside. He entered the room and closed the door behind him. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Alistair sighed. "I owe you an apology," he said quietly. Isla blinked. "What?" "I have forced you into this," he said. "I gave you no choice. I threatened you. I used your fear. That was wrong." Isla stared at him. She had never heard a nobleman apologize to a servant. "Why are you telling me this?" she asked. "Because tomorrow you will stand beside me," Alistair said, "and I do not want you to hate me." "I already hate you," Isla whispered. Alistair flinched, but he nodded. "I know." Silence filled the room. Isla's chest ached. She wanted to scream, to cry, to run like Lady Celestine had, but she could not. "What was she like?" Isla asked suddenly. "Lady Celestine. Why did she run?" Alistair's jaw tightened. He walked to the window. He stared out at the dark grounds. "She was afraid of me," he said. "My reputation, my coldness. She heard stories, that I am cruel, that I do not care for anyone." "Are they true?" Isla asked. Alistair turned. His eyes met hers. "Some of them," he said honestly. "I am not kind. I do not pretend to be. But I am not a monster." "Then what are you?" Alistair hesitated. For the first time, Isla saw something crack in his armor. "I am alone," he said softly. The words hung in the air. Isla felt something shift in her chest, something she did not want to feel. Sympathy. "Why do you not just tell your family the truth?" she asked. "Why not cancel the wedding?" "Because my family does not care about truth," Alistair said bitterly. "They care about power, about appearances. If I cancel, they will disown me, and I will lose the only thing I have left." "What is that?" "Control." Isla looked at him, really looked at him. He was not a villain. He was a prisoner, just like her. "I will play my part," Isla said quietly. "But after the wedding, you will keep your promise. You will let me go." Alistair nodded. "I will. And you will not hurt me." "I will not." Isla searched his face. She did not trust him, not fully, but she believed him, for now. "Then we have a deal," she said. Alistair extended his hand. Isla shook it. His grip was firm, warm, and for just a second, neither of them let go. The chapel was filled with people Isla did not know. Noblemen in fine coats, ladies in jeweled gowns, servants standing along the walls. Everyone watched as Isla walked down the aisle. Her heart pounded so hard she thought it might break through her ribs. She kept her eyes forward. Her hands gripped a bouquet of white roses. Her dress trailed behind her like a river of silk. She did not look at the faces. She looked at him. Alistair stood at the altar. He wore a black coat with silver buttons. His hair was perfectly combed. His expression was calm, but his eyes were locked on hers, and in them, she saw something she had not expected. Gratitude. Isla reached the altar. Alistair offered his hand. She took it. The priest began to speak. His voice was deep and steady. Isla barely heard the words. Her mind was spinning. Her body felt numb. This was not real. This could not be real. But then Alistair spoke. I, Alistair Thornwood, take you, Celestine, to be my wife." His voice was firm, clear. The priest turned to Ela. "And do you, Lady Celestine, take this man to be your husband?" Ela's throat closed. She felt the eyes of the crowd on her. She felt the weight of the lie pressing down on her chest. She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Alistair's grip tightened slightly. Not hard, just enough to ground her. "I do," Ela whispered. The priest smiled. "Then, by the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife." The crowd erupted in applause. Alistair leaned in. His lips brushed her ear. "Breathe," he whispered. Ela realized she had been holding her breath. She exhaled slowly. Alistair pulled back. He lifted her hand to his lips and kissed her knuckles. The crowd cheered louder, and Ela felt the world tilt beneath her feet. The reception was a blur. Isla sat beside Alistair at a long table. Guests came to congratulate them. They smiled. They bowed. They called her, "Your Grace." Isla smiled back. She nodded. She said nothing. Alistair spoke for both of them. He was polite, charming even. He played his role perfectly. But under the table, his hand rested near hers, not touching, but close, as if to remind her she was not alone. The feast lasted hours. There was roasted lamb and glazed duck and honeyed bread. There was wine that tasted like summer and cakes that melted on the tongue. Isla barely ate. Her stomach was in knots. When the music started, Alistair stood. He offered his hand. "We must dance," he said quietly. "It is expected." Isla's eyes widened. "I do not know how." "I will lead." He pulled her to her feet. The crowd parted. The musicians played a slow waltz. Alistair placed one hand on her waist. The other took hers. "Follow my steps," he murmured. "Do not think. Just move." Isla nodded. They began to dance. At first, Isla stumbled. Her feet tangled. Her breath hitched. But Alistair held her steady. "Look at me," he said softly. "Not at your feet." Isla lifted her eyes. His gaze was calm, focused. "Good," he said. "Now breathe." She did, and slowly her body began to move with his. 1 step, 2, 3. They spun across the floor. The crowd watched, whispered, smiled, but Isla did not see them. She only saw him. "You are doing well," Alistair said. "I do not feel like I am," Isla whispered. "You are." His hand tightened on her waist. "You are stronger than you think." Isla's chest ached. "Why are you being kind to me now?" she asked. Alistair's expression flickered. "Because you deserve it." The music swelled. They turned, and for just a moment, Isla forgot she was pretending. For just a moment, it felt real. When the guests finally left, the manor fell silent. Isla stood in the bridal chamber. The room was enormous. A fire crackled in the hearth. A massive bed sat in the center, draped in dark red silk. Her hands shook as she removed her jewelry. The door opened. Isla spun around. Alistair entered. He closed the door behind him. He looked at her, then at the bed. "You do not need to be afraid," he said. Isla's pulse raced. "What do you mean?" "I will not touch you," Alistair said simply. He walked to a chair by the fire and sat down. "This marriage is a contract, nothing more." Isla stared at him. You are not going to—" "No." Relief flooded through her, but also something else. Confusion. "Then what happens now?" she asked. "Now we live separate lives under the same roof," Alistair said. He leaned back in the chair. "You play the Duchess during the day. At night, you do as you please." "And you?" "I do the same." Ela frowned. Why did you marry me if you do not want a wife? I told you, Alistair said. I needed to fulfill the contract. You were the solution. But you could have chosen anyone, Ela said. Why me? Alistair's eyes darkened. Because you are no one. Because you cannot betray me. Because you have nowhere else to go. The words stung, but they were true. Ela turned away. She walked to the window. Outside, the moon was full and bright. I hate this, she whispered. I know. I hate you. I know that too. Ela closed her eyes. But I will keep my promise, Alistair said. 6 months. That is all I need. After that, you will be free. Ela turned to look at him. Why 6 months? Because by then the contract will be fulfilled, Alistair said. My family will be satisfied, and I can quietly arrange for your disappearance. The world will think you died in an accident. You will be given a new name, a new life, far from here. Ela's heart twisted. You have thought of everything, she said bitterly. I had to. Silence fell between them. Then Alistair stood. He walked toward the door. You may take the bed, he said. I will sleep in my study. You do not have to. I do, Alistair said. He paused at the door. Good night, Ela. He left. And Ela stood alone in the bridal chamber. She did not cry. She did not scream. She simply sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the fire, and wondered how she had ended up here. The first week passed slowly. Ela played her role. She smiled at servants. She took tea in the drawing room. She wore dresses that cost more than her entire life. She was the Duchess of Ashford, at least to the world. But at night, she was still just Ela. Alistair kept his distance. He was polite, courteous, but cold. They spoke only when necessary. They dined together in silence. They walked past each other in the halls like strangers. It was easier that way, or so Ela told herself. But then things began to change. It started small. One morning, Ela found a book on her breakfast tray. It was a novel, a romance, the kind she had once stolen glances at in the manor library. There was no note, but she knew who had left it. Another day, she found a new cloak in her wardrobe. It was lined with fur, warm and soft. Still no note, but she knew. Ela did not thank him. She did not acknowledge the gifts, but she used them, and she wondered why he was doing it. One evening, Ela walked through the gardens. The air was cool. The flowers were beginning to bloom. She found a bench beneath a willow tree and sat down. She opened the novel. She read for an hour, lost in a world that was not hers. Then she heard footsteps. She looked up. Alistair stood at the edge of the garden. He was dressed simply. His coat was unbuttoned. His hair was slightly windblown. I did not mean to disturb you, he said. You are not, Ela said carefully. Alistair hesitated. Then he walked closer. May I sit? Ela nodded. He sat on the other end of the bench. He did not speak. He simply looked at the garden. Thank you for the book, Ela said quietly. You are welcome. Why did you give it to me? Alistair glanced at her. You looked bored. Ela almost smiled. I was. Silence settled between them, but it was not uncomfortable. Do you read often? Ela asked. When I have time, Alistair said, which is not often. What do you read? History, philosophy, things that help me understand the world. Ela tilted her head. Do they help? Alistair's mouth quirked. No. This time, Ela did smile. Alistair noticed. His eyes softened. You should smile more, he said. I have little reason to. That is fair. They sat in silence a little longer. Then Alistair spoke again. I know this is not the life you wanted, he said, "but I hope it is not entirely unbearable." Isla looked at him, really looked at him. He was not cruel. He was not cold. He was just tired. "It is not unbearable," Isla admitted, "but it is strange." "How so?" "I do not know who I am anymore," Isla said. "I am not a maid, but I am not truly a duchess. I am in between." Alistair nodded slowly. "I understand." "Do you?" "I have spent my entire life being someone I am not," Alistair said. "I am the Duke, the heir, the man everyone expects me to be, but I do not know who I am beneath that." Isla's chest tightened. "That sounds lonely," she whispered. "It is." Their eyes met, and for the first time, Isla saw him. Not the Duke, not her captor, just a man who was just as trapped as she was. "Alistair," she said softly. He blinked. "You called me by my name. Was I not supposed to?" "No," he said. I liked it." Isla's heart skipped. She stood quickly. "I should go inside." "Of course." She turned to leave, but then she stopped. "Alistair?" "Yes?" "Thank you." He looked at her, confused. "For what?" "For not being the monster I thought you were." Isla did not wait for his response. She walked back to the manor, and behind her, Alistair sat alone in the garden. His heart was pounding, and he did not understand why. 2 weeks after the wedding, Alistair's family arrived. Isla's stomach twisted when she heard the news. "They are coming tomorrow," Alistair said. They stood in his study. His expression was tight. "My mother, my brother, my aunt, they will expect to meet you." "What do I say?" Isla asked. "As little as possible," Alistair said. "Let me do the talking." "What if they suspect?" "They will not," Alistair said firmly. "You have played the part perfectly so far." Isla was not so sure. The next day, the family arrived in a flurry of carriages and servants. Isla stood beside Alistair at the entrance. She wore a pale green gown. Her hair was pinned elegantly. Her face was calm. But inside, she was screaming. The first to step out was a woman in her 50s. She was tall and regal. Her hair was silver. Her eyes were sharp. Alistair's mother, Lady Margaret Thornwood. She looked at Isla. Her gaze swept from head to toe. "So," she said coolly, "this is Celestine." "Yes, mother," Alistair said. "This is my wife." Lady Margaret's lips pressed into a thin line. "She is smaller than I expected." "She is perfect," Alistair said smoothly. Isla curtsied. "It is an honor to meet you, my lady." Lady Margaret said nothing. She simply turned and walked into the manor. Next came Alistair's brother. His name was Ronan. He was younger, handsome. His smile was easy and charming. "So, you are the one who finally tamed my brother," Ronan said with a grin. Isla forced a smile. "I would not say that." "She is too modest," Alistair said. His hand rested lightly on Isla's back, a silent reassurance. Ronan laughed. "I like her already." The aunt came last. She was older and stern. Her name was Lady Beatrice. She looked at Isla like she was inspecting a horse. "You will do," she said curtly. And with that, the family entered the manor. Isla exhaled shakily. "That went well," Alistair murmured. "Did it?" Isla whispered. "Better than I expected." Isla was not convinced. That evening, a formal dinner was held. The dining room glittered with candlelight. The table was set with fine china and crystal glasses. Servants moved silently, bringing course after course. Isla sat beside Alistair. His family surrounded them. Lady Margaret sat at the head of the table. She watched Isla like a hawk. So, Celestine, she said, tell me about your family. Isla's heart skipped. She had rehearsed this. She knew the lies. My father was a merchant, Isla said carefully. He passed when I was young. My mother raised me alone. How unfortunate, Lady Margaret said. Her tone was flat. And what of your education? I was taught at home, my lady. By whom? A governess. Lady Margaret's eyes narrowed. And what did she teach you? Music, literature, French. Speak some French for me. Isla's blood turned cold. She did not know French. Lady Celestine had known French, but Isla did not. She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Lady Margaret's lips curled. You cannot? Mother, Alistair said sharply, this is not an interrogation. I am simply getting to know my daughter-in-law, Lady Margaret said sweetly. Ronan leaned forward. Mother, leave her alone. She is nervous. Nervous? Lady Margaret's eyes flicked to Isla. Or hiding something? Isla's hands clenched in her lap. Alistair set down his fork. His voice was ice. That is enough. Lady Margaret raised an eyebrow. You defend her quickly. She is my wife, Alistair said. I will defend her always. The table fell silent. Lady Margaret stared at her son. Then she smiled coldly. Very well. She returned to her meal. But Isla could feel her eyes on her for the rest of the night. After dinner, Isla escaped to the garden. She could not breathe in that house, could not think. Lady Margaret suspected something. Isla was sure of it. She paced beneath the willow tree. Her hands shook. Isla, she turned. Alistair stood at the garden entrance. His face was shadowed. You should not have come out here alone, he said. I needed air. I know. He walked toward her. You did well tonight. I almost failed. But you did not. Isla shook her head. Your mother knows something is wrong. She suspects, Alistair corrected, but she does not know. She will find out, Isla whispered. And then what happens to me? Alistair stopped in front of her. His eyes were serious. I will not let her hurt you, he said. You cannot promise that. I can, Alistair said, and I do. Isla looked up at him. The moonlight lit his face. His jaw was tight. His eyes were fierce. He meant it. Why do you care? Isla asked softly. I am just a pawn in your plan. Alistair's expression shifted. Something raw flickered across his face. You are not, he said quietly. Not anymore. Isla's breath caught. What do you mean? Alistair hesitated. Then he reached out. His fingers brushed a strand of hair from her face. I mean, he said slowly, that somewhere along the way, you became more than that. Isla's heart pounded. Alistair. I know, he said. I know this is complicated. I know I have no right, but He stopped. He stepped back. I should not have said that, he muttered. Forgive me. He turned to leave. Wait, Isla said. He stopped. She did not know why she spoke, did not know what she was doing. But she walked toward him. And when she reached him, she placed her hand on his arm. You are not alone, she whispered. Not anymore. Alistair looked down at her. His eyes searched hers. Then, slowly, he covered her hand with his. Neither of them moved. Neither of them spoke. They simply stood there, together, for the first time. The next morning, Isla woke to chaos. There was shouting in the hallway, footsteps running, doors slamming. She threw on a robe and stepped into the corridor. Servants rushed past her. Their faces were pale. What is happening? Isla asked. No one answered. She hurried down the stairs. She found Alistair in the great hall. His mother stood before him, holding a piece of paper. Her face was red with fury. "How dare you!" Lady Margaret shouted. Alistair's expression was stone. "Mother, do not mother me!" She waved the paper in his face. "This came this morning, from Lady Celestine's family. They have received word that their daughter is alive and living in France." Isla's blood turned to ice. Alistair did not flinch. "That is impossible," he said calmly. "Is it?" Lady Margaret's eyes were wild. "Then who is the woman you married?" Silence. Isla's heart hammered. She pressed herself against the wall. Lady Margaret's gaze swept the room, then landed on her. "You!" she hissed. Isla could not move. Lady Margaret stalked toward her. "Who are you?" she demanded. "Mother, stop," Alistair said. "Tell me the truth." Lady Margaret grabbed Isla's arm. Her grip was bruising. "Who are you?" "She is my wife," Alistair said. His voice cut through the room like a blade. Lady Margaret spun to face him. "Do not lie to me, Alistair." "I am not lying." "Then explain the letter." Alistair's jaw tightened. "The letter is a lie. Someone is trying to sabotage this family, and I will not allow it." Lady Margaret stared at him. Her chest heaved. Then she laughed, a cold, bitter sound. "You married an imposter," she said. "You committed fraud." "I did what I had to do," Alistair said, "and now we will all pay the price." "No," Alistair said, "you will not, because no one will know." Lady Margaret's eyes narrowed. "You cannot hide this." "I can," Alistair said, "and I will." He walked to Isla. He took her hand. "We are leaving," he said. "Alistair, now." He pulled Isla toward the door. "If you leave," Lady Margaret called after them, "you will be disowned. You will lose everything." Alistair paused. He looked back at his mother. "Then I lose everything," he said, and he walked out of the manor. Isla's mind spun. She could barely keep up. "Alistair, what are you doing?" "Saving you," he said. "But your family does not matter. Your title does not matter." Isla stopped walking. She pulled her hand free. "Alistair, stop." He turned. His face was hard, but his eyes were wild. "You do not understand," Isla said. "If you leave, you lose everything. Everything you worked for, everything you are." "I know." "Then why?" "Because you matter more," Alistair said. His voice cracked. "You matter more than any of it." Isla's chest ached. Tears burned in her eyes. "You do not mean that." "I do," Alistair said. He stepped closer. "I do not know when it happened, but somewhere along the way I stopped seeing you as a tool. I stopped seeing you as a means to an end. I started seeing you as you." "Alistair." "I am sorry," he said. "I am sorry for what I did, for what I forced you into. But I will not let them hurt you. Not for me, not for my family, not for anyone." Isla's tears spilled over. "Where will we go?" she whispered. Alistair shook his head. "I do not know, but we will figure it out, together." Isla searched his eyes, saw the truth there. He meant it. He was willing to lose everything. For her. "Okay," she whispered. Alistair exhaled. Relief flooded his face. He took her hand again, and they ran. They took one horse, one bag of clothes, a small pouch of money. That was all. They rode through the forest. The trees blurred around them. The wind whipped Isla's hair. Her heart pounded with fear and adrenaline. She did not know where they were going, but she trusted Alistair. For the first time, she truly trusted him. They rode until nightfall. Then they stopped at a small inn on the edge of a village. It was old and worn, but it was safe. Alistair paid the innkeeper for a room. He did not give his name. They climbed the narrow stairs. The room was small. One bed, one window, a single candle. Isla sat on the bed. Her legs shook. Alistair stood by the window. He stared out at the dark village. "What happens now?" Isla asked. "I do not know," Alistair admitted. He turned to look at her. "But we cannot go back. Your family will come after us." "Let them." "Alistair!" "I do not care," he said fiercely. "I do not care what they do. I am done living for them." Isla stood. She walked to him. "But what will you do?" she asked. "You are a duke. You do not know how to be anything else." Alistair's expression softened. "Then I will learn. It will not be easy." "I know. You will lose everything." "I already have," Alistair said. He reached out and touched her face. "And I have gained something far more valuable." Isla's breath hitched. "What?" "You." The word hung between them. Isla's heart raced. Her hands trembled. "Alistair, You do not have to say anything," he said gently. "I do not expect you to feel the same. I just needed you to know." But Isla did feel the same. She did not know when it had started, did not know how, but somewhere in the stolen glances and quiet conversations, she had begun to care for him, to need him, to love him. "I do," she whispered. Alistair froze. "You do what?" "I feel the same." His eyes widened. "Isla." "I do not know how it happened," she said, "but I do not hate you anymore. I think I might love you." Alistair's hands cupped her face. His eyes were desperate, searching. "Say it again," he whispered. "I love you," Isla said. Tears streamed down her cheeks. "I love you, Alistair." He kissed her. It was not gentle. It was not soft. It was hungry, desperate, real. Isla kissed him back, her hands fisted in his shirt. She pulled him closer. Alistair's arms wrapped around her. He lifted her off the ground. She gasped against his mouth. He carried her to the bed. They fell together, tangled, breathless. "Isla," he murmured against her lips. "Are you sure?" "Yes," she whispered. "I am sure." And for the first time, they were not the Duke and the Maid. They were not the liar and the lied to. They were just two people who had found each other in the dark. Isla woke to sunlight streaming through the window. She blinked slowly. Her body was warm. Her mind was foggy. Then she remembered. Last night. Alistair. She turned her head. He was still asleep beside her. His arm was draped over her waist. His face was peaceful, younger somehow. Isla's chest swelled. She reached out and brushed a strand of hair from his forehead. Alistair stirred. His eyes fluttered open. When he saw her, he smiled. A real smile. "Good morning," he murmured. "Good morning," Isla whispered. They lay there for a moment, silent, content. Then Alistair's expression grew serious. "We need to talk about what happens next," he said. Isla nodded. "I know." "My family will search for us," Alistair said. "And when they find us, they will not be kind." "Then we keep moving," Isla said. "We go somewhere they cannot reach us." "Where?" "Anywhere," Isla said. "As long as we are together." Alistair's eyes softened. He leaned in and kissed her forehead. "Together," he repeated. But then a sound shattered the quiet. Hoofbeats. Lots of them. Alistair bolted upright. He ran to the window. His face paled. "What is it?" Isla asked. They are here. Isla's blood ran cold. She scrambled out of bed. She looked out the window. A dozen men on horseback surrounded the inn. They wore the Thornwood crest on their coats. Lady Margaret stood at the front. Her face was twisted with fury. "Come down, Alistair!" she shouted, "or we will burn this place to the ground!" Isla grabbed Alistair's arm. "What do we do?" Alistair's jaw clenched. "We fight." "We cannot fight them all." "Then we run." "There is nowhere to run." Alistair turned to her. His eyes were fierce. "Then we go down together." Isla stared at him. Then she nodded. "Together." They dressed quickly. Alistair grabbed the bag. Isla grabbed his hand. They walked down the stairs. The innkeeper was gone. Fled, likely. They stepped outside. Lady Margaret's eyes locked onto them. "So," she said coldly, "you thought you could run from your duty." "I thought I could run from you," Alistair said. Lady Margaret's lips curled. "And who is this girl you have chosen over your family?" "She is my wife," Alistair said. "She is a fraud." "She is mine." Lady Margaret's face twisted. "You have shamed this family. You have destroyed everything we built." "You built it on lies," Alistair said. "I want no part of it." "Then you will have nothing." "Good." Lady Margaret raised her hand. The men dismounted. They moved toward Alistair and Isla. Isla's heart pounded. She looked at Alistair. He squeezed her hand. "Do not let go," he whispered. "I will not." The men advanced, but then a voice rang out. "Stop!" Everyone froze. A figure stepped forward from behind the horses. It was a woman, tall, elegant. Her face was pale but determined. Isla's breath caught. It was Lady Celestine. "Celestine!" Lady Margaret gasped. The real Lady Celestine walked forward. Her cloak billowed behind her. Her eyes were sharp. "Mother," she said calmly, "call off your men." Lady Margaret stared. You are alive." "Obviously." "But the letter was from me," Celestine said. She stopped in front of Isla and Alistair. Her gaze swept over them. "I sent it to stop this madness." Lady Margaret's face turned red. "You ran from your duty." "I ran from a marriage I did not want," Celestine said, "and I do not regret it." "You have humiliated this family." "No," Celestine said. "You have, by forcing me into a union I despised, by caring more about power than people." Lady Margaret opened her mouth, then closed it. Celestine turned to Alistair. "I owe you an apology." Alistair frowned. "For what?" "For running," Celestine said. "For leaving you to clean up my mess." "You owed me nothing," Alistair said quietly. "I did not want the marriage either." Celestine smiled sadly. "I know. That is why I came back, to set things right." She turned to Lady Margaret. "I am officially dissolving the marriage contract," Celestine said. "My family has agreed. The agreement is void." Lady Margaret's eyes widened. "You cannot—" "I can," Celestine said. "And I have." She pulled a document from her cloak. She handed it to Lady Margaret. Lady Margaret read it. Her hands shook. "This means—" "It means you have no hold over Alistair," Celestine said. "He is free." Lady Margaret looked up. Her face was pale, defeated. "You have ruined us," she whispered. "No," Celestine said. "I have freed you." She turned back to Isla and Alistair. "You are free to go," she said. "Both of you." Isla stared at her. Tears blurred her vision. "Why?" she whispered. "Why would you do this?" Celestine smiled. "Because I know what it is like to be trapped, and I would not wish that on anyone." She looked at Alistair. especially not someone who is in love. Alistair's throat tightened. He nodded. "Thank you," he said. Celestine inclined her head. Then she turned and walked back to her horse. She mounted gracefully. She looked down at Lady Margaret. "Goodbye, Mother," she said. "I hope you find peace." And she rode away. Lady Margaret stood frozen. Her men looked uncertain. Alistair stepped forward. "Go home," he said to his mother. "You have no power here." Lady Margaret's eyes filled with tears, but she said nothing. She turned. She mounted her horse, and she left. The men followed, and just like that, it was over. Isla and Alistair stood alone in the village square. The sun was rising. The air was cool and fresh. Isla turned to Alistair. "What do we do now?" Alistair looked down at her. He smiled. "We live," he said simply. "Where?" "Wherever we want." Isla laughed. It was a shaky, breathless sound. "I do not know how to do that," she admitted. "Neither do I," Alistair said. He pulled her close. "But we will learn together." Isla wrapped her arms around him. She buried her face in his chest. "I love you," she whispered. "I love you too," Alistair said. He kissed the top of her head. "And I will spend the rest of my life proving it." The cottage was small, simple, tucked away in a valley surrounded by green hills and wildflowers. It had 2 rooms, a stone hearth, a garden that Isla tended every morning. It was not a manor. It was not grand, but it was theirs. Isla stood in the garden. Her hands were dirty. Her hair was loose. She wore a simple dress. She was smiling. Alistair walked up behind her. He wrapped his arms around her waist. "You missed a spot," he said, nodding at the dirt patch. "Then help me," Isla said. Alistair knelt beside her. He dug his hands into the soil. They worked side by side, quiet, content. When the sun began to set, they washed their hands in the stream. They walked back to the cottage together. Inside, a fire crackled. Bread was baking. The smell filled the air. Isla sat at the small table. Alistair sat across from her. "Do you regret it?" Isla asked suddenly. Alistair looked up. "Regret what?" "Leaving. Losing everything." Alistair reached across the table. He took her hand. "I lost nothing," he said. "I gained everything." Isla's eyes misted. "You are just saying that." "I am not," Alistair said. He squeezed her hand. "I have never been happier than I am right now. With you." Isla smiled. Tears slipped down her cheeks. "I love you," she whispered. "I love you more," Alistair said. "Impossible." "Wanna bet?" Isla laughed. Alistair grinned. They ate dinner by the fire. They talked about nothing and everything. They laughed. They were free. They were together. And they were happy. That night they lay in bed. The window was open. A cool breeze drifted in. Stars glittered in the sky. Isla rested her head on Alistair's chest. His arms were wrapped around her. "Do you think they will come after us?" Isla asked quietly. "No," Alistair said. "My family has moved on. They found another match, another title. They do not need me anymore." "And Lady Celestine?" "She is happy, last I heard," Alistair said. "She married a painter. They live in Italy." Isla smiled. "Good for her." "Good for us," Alistair said. He kissed her hair. "We all got our happy ending." Isla closed her eyes. She listened to his heartbeat. "I never thought I would have this," she whispered. "A home, love, freedom." "Neither did I," Alistair said. "But I am glad I do, and I am glad it is with you." Isla tilted her head up. She kissed him softly. "Forever?" she asked. Alistair smiled against her lips. Forever, he promised. 1 year later, a letter arrived at the cottage. It was sealed with red wax. The handwriting was elegant. Isla opened it carefully. Inside was a single page. It read, "Dear Isla and Alistair, I hope this letter finds you well. I wanted to write to tell you that I am expecting a child. My husband is over the moon. We are building a life filled with love and laughter. I often think of you both, of the courage it took to leave everything behind, of the love that made it possible. Thank you for showing me that it is never too late to choose your own path. With love and gratitude, Celestine." Isla's eyes filled with tears. She handed the letter to Alistair. He read it. Then he smiled. "She is happy," he said. "We all are," Isla said. Alistair pulled her into his arms. He kissed her deeply. "Yes," he murmured. "We all are." Outside, the sun set over the hills. The wildflowers swayed in the breeze. The world was quiet and peaceful. Inside the cottage, Isla and Alistair held each other close. They had lost everything, and gained the only thing that mattered: each other. And that was enough.